South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite, that extra nickel.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is a 3-top here on Sports by the Book here today. I'm Jeff Parles. She's Alex White. He's Kenny White. I'll also go from light to dark as we go across the desk as well. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Jeff. You got a lot of energy today.
I'm awake. It's Tuesday. It's too early in the week to be half asleep, right, Kenny? But here we go. Let's just dive into it. We got a lot today. Elimination baseball in Omaha, full MLB card, the final day of the Commissioner Cup games in the WNBA as well. And there's only a Game 6 closeout opportunity in the Stanley Cup final tonight. And that's where we begin the show today with the Florida Panthers looking to go back-to-back, trying to be the second Floridian team to do it in the last half decade. Of course, Tampa did it in 2020 and 2021. Colorado and Vegas ruined the Floridian fun for 2 years, and now here the Panthers try to beat the Oilers for the second consecutive year with a 3-2 series lead, a dominant showing on Saturday night in game number 5, a 5-2 winner for Florida. 5 for 5 on the over in this series now after, Kenny, a pretty miraculous victory for you on the total with needing Edmonton to score with the extra attacker and then Florida to dunk one in on their heads with the empty net. Price on this one, Kenny, as we begin our look at Game 6. Florida's -50, Edmonton's +30. The total is 6.5 yet again. There's been one-way traffic on the Panthers here at the South Point, a 15-cent move from $1.35 to $1.50 on the Panthers, as the market expects the Panthers to close this thing out and win their second consecutive Stanley Cup.
The hardest thing to do to close out the series. That's the hardest one to get, and we know Edmonton's not giving up. They've come back in too many series. They did it last year. I really thought that they were going to win Game 5. I thought with the win at Florida in Game 4, I thought it gave them so much confidence that they knew they were just as good or better, and playing at home, they could get that W, but they fell behind early and couldn't get on the board. Playoff Bob was really, really good. But this one, I think it's again, with the home revenge, with that factor of closing it out, I like Edmonton. I think they send this to a 7th game. I'm going to pass the total because, it's been all overs. We got really good offensive clubs, and, on the road, I would expect unders, but we're not getting them. I'll just stick to betting over at Edmonton if we get it. And that'll be hard for me too, though. I bet every game 7 under just blindly because they're such big games.
It'll be interesting to see what the market, if we get to a Game 7, which would go on Friday night if it happens to happen. Be interested to see what the market does with that total, because again, usually it's brought in a half a goal or a full goal. Yeah. Especially if tonight happens to go over again. What does the market do with a Game 7 in a series that at this point would be either 5? Look, if we get a 2-1 game, then we all know what's going to happen. It's going to be 6 with a juice under in Game 7, maybe even some books will flash a 5.5 for a small amount. But if this is like, let's say Edmonton wins like 5-3, 6-3, something in that pocket with empty netters, I just am curious to see what the market does in a potential Game 7. Alex, curious just, again, like for Florida, you're minus 50 here to wrap this thing up. We've gone all over every single angle in this series, and here you go. There are your alternate puck numbers. Alex, it's a 2.5 plus 310. If we can get something out of hand with the Panthers, that's really been the only result that has happened out of hand-wise in this series. The 2 multiple goal wins have been Florida by 5 in Game 3, and then, of course, 5-2 3 nights ago.
So that has to mean that Edmonton is due, right? Minus 1.5 there at 3-1. I'm not going to bet this game. It would be a lean to the Oilers and them, keeping their season alive here. Of course, we are going back to Skinner, and I think that is the right move. And we talked about it yesterday, kind of like comparing it to quarterbacks. If you have 2, you have none, and it feels like that with this Oilers team and their goalies. But one thing for sure is we've seen them step in and play really well. So Pickard, jumping in was fantastic, and then getting the start, it wasn't the best spot for him. So now we get to see Skinner again. So we'll see how that goes today. But I got to imagine we see his best effort, and he has something to prove here, of course, from losing that starting job to Pickard. But with what you're saying, and the Oilers not going away easily, and the star power that they do have, I think you got to go back with Bobrovsky over saves, 27.5. I think that is a good bet there. He's done it 4 of the 5 times. He had 42, 32, and 30. And then, of course, the last game we saw it go under with just 19 saves for him, which is pretty wild. But I think we're going to get a lot of shots on goal here from Edmonton.
That was really the only game, as you just mentioned, that was the only game where Edmonton didn't create chances. Even in the game where they got bombarded, they still created chances. Yeah. It just was even – it's so weird to say in a game where you lose 6-1 and get embarrassed like they did in Game 3. Yeah. The situation – where you don't expect a flat spot in your home ice in a 2-2. And Edmonton was so flat the whole game, and they're making the right move going back to Skinner. I'm with you on that, Alex. I like Florida to close this thing tonight. It just the home ice, the unknown factor, and you just mentioned, and we talked about this yesterday, Alex, the old thing we talk about quarterbacks. When you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. They don't, and this is the biggest thing for Edmonton this offseason now, where you've been in the Cup final back-to-back years. You've had an elite offense now for a half-decade. Go out and get a high-end goaltender. Look, remember, people thought Bobrovsky's career was over when he left Columbus and ended up down to Florida, especially after a little bit of a blow-up early in his Florida career. I mean, remember, everyone was calling for Spencer Knight at the beginning of Bobrovsky's Florida career. Now you see Bobrovsky has founded what he was in Columbus and is a high-end goaltender. Edmonton's got to find their guy moving forward. I like the Panthers, and I do like this game over because I think we're getting some empty netters tonight. I think this is a 2-goal game in the third period. Edmonton pulls the goalie early, and then all of a sudden, Kenny, Alex, there's no putting the goalie back in an elimination game until you're down 5. So I like over. I like Florida on the puck line as well. Panthers wrap this thing, lift the cup for the second consecutive year in their home building.
I told you I'd love to bet it under because I love betting Edmonton under on the road. And I've mentioned this about the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs. If I'm going to bet overs, it's going to be early in the series. Game 1, game 2, maybe game 3. But once they get to game 6, these guys have seen each other. They know each other. They've been in brawls. They're going to get more physical. I'm kind of just completely opposite of you on this, Jeff. I think Edmonton's in it. I think they play great defense. And I think it's going to be close. An interesting story that Alex's future brother-in-law ran into a NHL goalie, and they had a long conversation for after. I won't mention any names, but it was Aiden Hill, and that guy, that goalie, said, Bobrovsky is an average NHL goalie at best. He's just very fortunate for the team that he plays with. His skills are just average NHL wise. He plays for the best team in the NHL who they can cover up his mistakes and they don't allow easy shots on goal. Their defense is amazing and they can score 5 goals if he gives up 3. So he's got it made. Interesting that, another NHL goalie would say that about another NHL goalie, that it could be jealousy or what. I think Bobrovsky is a very good goalie, has been known as Playoff Bob in the past because he does get up in the playoffs, but we'll see if he can close it out here tonight.
It is interesting, though, because you could say that about the Vegas Golden Knights when they went on their run as well. I mean, they were just so dominant offensively, and so maybe he's kind of speaking from experience of how much that does help you, where we saw them completely die out offensively this year against this Edmonton team.
I want to look at the Conn Smythe market real quick because this has become a hot debate since Brad Marchand has taken over this Stanley Cup final. Sam Bennett is still the betting favorite right now to be the Conn Smythe winner. 15 goals in the postseason. Obviously, remember we always have to bring this up. Conn Smythe is a full playoff award. Right now, DK, Bennett's -20, Marchand's +260. If you think Edmonton can come back and win this series, you can get Draisaitl and McDavid at 7-1 and +750 respectively. I still lean Bennett, but boy, if Marchand has a big game tonight, again, there's no value left. This is just more of an update on the Florida side. I still expect it to be Bennett, but boy, if Marchand scores again tonight, he has an unbelievably good argument at this point because he has been clearly the best player in this series. The interesting one is if Edmonton wins tonight, Draisaitl, McDavid their numbers are going to crash again. There you go. You see it on your screen. You can still get +410 on Marchand over at FanDuel if you want it. So, boy, pretty good number available if you want Brad Marchand. But it would only be a look at the Edmonton guys. For me, it would only be a look at Draisaitl. Honestly, both Draisaitl and McDavid, because those are the only 2 guys that can possibly win it on the Edmonton side. And even if I bet 1 unit on both of them, I'm still getting a better price than I would on Edmonton to win the series. So it would only be you think Edmonton's going to come back, I'd put a half unit on Draisaitl, a half unit on McDavid, and go from there in the Conn Smythe market.
It is very interesting. And, there's a lot of pressure on Connor McDavid going into this game tonight. I mean, the reporters are even asking him about it, and we'll see how he handles it and how he steps up tonight. But as of now, it is Draisaitl's award when it comes to the playoffs this year, if they were to pull it off.
Bennett with 15 goals, and he's going up against the number 1 line of every team that he faces. It is amazing to look at one stat. Marchand is a +18 in the playoffs when he's on the ice.
Good.
Bennett just +6. So big difference. Marchand has been the difference maker. And you're right. If Marchand scores tonight and they win the game, even getting 4 less goals than Bennett, he will probably win the Conn Smythe Award. But I like your way though, because I think Edmonton's going to give him a great game here tonight, and I think they got a good chance to win. They've won there before. They did it last year. They made the comeback, and that you're right. It could go to Draisaitl or McDavid, and it's one of the 2, and that's it. So, yeah, I'll probably do the same thing and make a half unit bet on both those guys and split my bet on those.
Just want to do a quick NBA check before we go to today's WNBA card because it's the final day of Commissioner Cup games. Of course, Oklahoma City last night behind a 40-burger from Jalen Williams, who I think has a pretty damn good argument to win the NBA Finals MVP at this rate, despite how well SGA has played in this series. OKC wins. They cover all numbers barely. 120-109 game goes over. Kind of felt like a bad beat if you're on the under yesterday because that fourth quarter really pushed it over in more ways than one. Right now, early numbers, not expecting any plays, guys, because we'll have 2 days to break this down tomorrow and on Thursday. But the early numbers, they line up with what we saw in game 3. Oklahoma City's 5, 224.5 is the total, is similar to last night. So totals decreased as this series has gone along, but OKC in line with what it was for game 3 as a 5-point favorite. And of course, now we have the question of Tyrese Halliburton's leg health, where he did not look close to 100% yesterday.
No, he didn't. Of course, just 4 points in the game yesterday, and really feels like the Thunder have kind of figured out the best style that they want to play against this Pacers team. But as we talk about, the closeout game is the toughest. Now going back to Indiana, I mean, the pieces around Halliburton stepped up huge. I mean, Siakam, Nesmith, we really saw it from all of them. I think they're going to need even more, especially from their bench. But yeah, just I do think the Thunder ultimately win this series, just whether it's here in Indiana or back at home, Game 7.
Indiana's given it a valiant effort. They were up against a mountain, and they came in and they started the series, and they shocked the world in Game 1 with an amazing comeback again. And they're up against so much of a challenge, and if your best player is not 100% and the other team has 3 superstars, I think Holmgren's going to be a superstar in this league with the things that he can do at his size. It's amazing. With Jalen Williams, he's rounding himself into doing things that Michael Jordan and only Kobe Bryant can do, and that's amazing to see a player play like that. He's the best defensive player, I think, on this team. So it's just going to be, this is all uphill, and this could be a game that you fall behind and your best player's not 100%. The crowd's out of it, and Oklahoma City could win this game by double digits. And I expected that the last time I was here with you guys. That was my thought.
Backdoor sweep.
I think they win. Yeah,
they
get the sweep.
And it'll be interesting to see. I want to see how the market plays this because it's going to be closed, tight-lipped.
Yeah.
For Indiana on how hurt Halliburton truly is. But again, you saw it last night. A little bit surprised Carlisle didn't stick with McConnell for the bulk of the fourth quarter with, again, Halliburton was struggling to move last night by the end of that game. So OKC up 3-2. Again, we talked about it, 68 wins, best spread record in NBA history going into the finals. So far, they've covered all 3 of their wins in this NBA Finals. Boy, Game 4 still hurts if you had Indiana, but boy, they've covered all 3 heading into a potential closeout in Indianapolis on Thursday. We'll have the full breakdown tomorrow and on Thursday's show right here on Sports by the Book. All right, we actually dive into the WNBA here. Caitlin Clark came back on Saturday and put together what might have been her best WNBA performance, period, against the Liberty, sending New York to their first loss. And it was a timely one at that for the Fever, who actually have a chance to control their destiny to represent the East in the Commissioner Cup final, which would be in Minneapolis more likely than not. But we'll go through the 4 games that have some impact here on the Commissioner Cup. And we begin in Brooklyn, where if the Atlanta Dream, who, Alex, I got to give you credit, going into this year, you thought the Dream were a little bit undervalued. They had a good offseason, you and Kenny both. They're 8-3. They're off to a really good start. And with a win in New York tonight, if they can pull the 9-point upset, they will be the ones representing the Eastern Conference in the Commissioner Cup final. Actually down to 8.5 now on this game. Total 163.5. New York, again, had been dominant up until Saturday, and they just ran into a buzzsaw in Indianapolis with the way the Fever played in Clark's first game back. 163.5 your total for this one at Barclays tonight.
This team's just too good, and I think they're going to have a great bounce back spot here tonight at home against Atlanta. I can't see them losing 2 in a row, just with all the pieces that they have. I do like Atlanta, and I do like how they have been playing. I think that 8.5 is pretty tempting, but I don't have our exact numbers if there's any real value jumping in there. Again, I mean, we've seen the Liberty just crushing teams, and I think that they could here tonight coming off of that loss.
It's going to be a big game, obviously, to get the Commissioner's Cup Finals. I love the setup because it's worth a lot of money, and you're going to get the best effort out of both teams. Atlanta bringing in Brittany Griner was huge for them. It just gives them that rim protector, rebounder, a scorer inside that can, get a bucket when they need it. So they got Gray and Howard. They've got some really good players. Even though New York's coming off that loss, Atlanta's going to give them everything they can tonight, and this will be a definite battle. I like the under because of the fact the game's so big, and I think it's going to be lower scoring. I think points will be at a premium, and I think taking 8.5, I think it's definitely worth a 1% bet on both the side and the total, and then a correlated parlay, and then a little more, maybe a double pizza money parlay because it's so correlated.
Why not? Why not? To get a dream off to a great start, 8-3, and well on their way to heading to the WNBA playoffs through the first 11 games. With a chance to represent the East with an upset win tonight. New York needs help. If they win, they will need this next game to go their way, and that's asking a lot based off the number. Indiana welcomes Connecticut. In order for New York to reach the Commissioner Cup final yet again, they need the 17-point underdog to win outright on the road. Probably not going to happen. Indiana, again, just dominant on Saturday. You have to look at the Fever just as two different teams. You got to really throw out from a power rating perspective what we saw when Clark was out. They just were a totally different team. Even though they held up relatively well without Clark, now you saw what you can get. If you get Clark at the highest of levels like she was on Saturday, you got a team that can win the WNBA championship. Again, a really 4 or 5-headed monster. Clark, by the way, you can bet her point total tonight, 21.5 here at the South Point. Alex, 17 is a lot of points. 166.5 is your total. Connecticut actually is the reason that Indiana controls their own destiny with a win by New York in order to get in, because Connecticut upset Atlanta.
That's right.
In Commissioner Cup play. So Indiana's 17 tonight. What a huge number that is at home.
Well, you said it, though. Without Caitlin Clark, they had to kind of change their offense, learn how to facilitate without her, and I think it made all of them better. So then just sticking her back in there, I do really like this Fever team. I am curious what their numbers are to even win it all, or going back and looking at Caitlin Clark to win MVP, even though she has missed more games, 5 being that number, than anybody has winning the MVP up to this point. But man, I can't get there with the Sun. I mean, we saw them get them blown out by Washington, 104-67. Now they're coming off a loss against the Sky, 78-66. So I just think this Indiana team's playing too good, and they're too excited to have their star back.
Yeah, no doubt they are. They are a far better team. They can name the score if they, whatever score they want to win by. They can win by 30 in this game because it's just much better team. I'm expecting a letdown, though, after beating New York. I just don't know. The only thing that maybe is not a letdown, it's amazing. Connecticut has won just 2 games this year. One was against Atlanta. Amazing. They beat them. And then here they beat the Indiana team. So they already beat them once. I don't think that Indiana wants to lose again to Connecticut. So I think they'll be ready, but I don't know if you're going to get the greatest of effort. Caitlin Clark, as I mentioned weeks ago, I was really amazed how good of a player she is and how fast she's become a superstar, and not just a superstar. She's put herself in the, her talent has thrown herself in the ring of the top 3 players in the WNBA, and she's going to be battling for that MVP award. There's a couple extra games this year than there normally are. If she can stay healthy the rest of the season, I think she's going to be averaging 25, 26 points a game and win the scoring title and win that MVP award.
Right now, Fee Collier is still your betting favorite, especially now with the next game we'll get to, which we can translate over right now. Minnesota, with a win tonight, will have home court in the Commissioner Cup final. And Collier and company take on the Aces, who have come on hard times right now. Asia Wilson is going to miss her second consecutive game with a concussion. 13 tonight on Minnesota, 161.5. It's very difficult. Again, it's not like the Aces were playing great with Wilson to begin with. Now you take out, again, still the best player in the league. You could see a line like this, especially against a Minnesota team that still has only lost once here in the WNBA season.
Third straight game, actually, Jeff. So,
Yep.
I mean, that is tough for this team, and they haven't really figured it out with her absence. Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, Jewel Lloyd, they all really need to step up. And the big issue, though, with the Aces team is they don't have a bench. So it's going to be tough, and a lot's going to fall on them. Minnesota's playing so good. 1 loss on the year. I'm not even trying to jump in here, taking those points.
Yeah, it's such a big number. I do much, much better in competitive games. I again, with the injuries that Vegas has and the way they're playing, it's a Minnesota team that they're playing so well together, and the chemistry that they have, and they play such great defense. I might look at a Vegas team total under in this game because of the defense that Minnesota plays. So that's kind of maybe the only place I would look here in this game.
And then the last one that still has an opportunity, still technically alive, but they again would need a big upset. Seattle with a win by Minnesota, with a win by Vegas over Minnesota, would actually get there with a win over LA themselves here tonight, because they would win the 3-way tiebreak because they defeated both Phoenix and Minnesota in Commissioner Cup play. They're 9-point road favorites here. Sparks without Plum tonight. She is battling a leg injury, so uphill battle for the Sparks here at home without their best player.
I mean, there's one I could kind of get behind, that favorite there with Seattle playing for so much. Like you said, they do have a shot with the tiebreaker over Minnesota and Phoenix, and Plum has really been the entire offense here. So they do have Hambry, of course, too. But I don't know. I think Seattle will be ready to go, and I do think that they are in that tier above the Sparks and those other teams.
Yeah, Seattle's definitely the better team, and then you throw in Kelsey Plum not being in the lineup. That's a huge loss for the Sparks. So I expect Seattle to come out and play really good basketball here. And, that's not a great home court advantage in Los Angeles. We know the fans get there late, leave early, and they sit on their hands most of the game. So I think it's one of the worst home advantages in the WNBA. So Seattle, the good spot here with no Plum in the lineup. They just got too much fireworks, the Seattle lineup does. So I like Seattle here in this one. But it might be a situation where without Plum, Seattle still does play good defense. It might be another one that I look at, maybe Los Angeles' team total under. This total has really crashed without Plum in the lineup.
No shock there. Again, LA built that offense around Plum's ability to score the rock, and just hasn't fully worked. They're still poor defensively. That's really the bigger issue, more so than anything. All right, we will take a break. When we get back, trivia question will be in the bottom, and we have a full card of Major League Baseball and elimination game in Omaha as well. We'll break them down when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Back in at Sports by the Book. Jeff Parles, Kenny White, Alex White, we're all here on a Tuesday morning. And we're going over to Major League Baseball, and we got a full card here today, and we will begin in Miami. The Phillies got it done for both of us yesterday, Alex. The line that made no sense, we were correct for once. when we have that, it's going to be Luzardo tonight. His first start as a road pitcher in Miami, of course, the former Marlin himself, against Quantrill. It's $1.80, which is actually the biggest price in the market on Philly. You can do better if you shop. Plus 60 on the fish, total 8.5 down at Lone Depot tonight, Alex.
For me, it would be just go right back to it. Minus 1.5 here with the Phillies. I like the fact that Luzardo's going back to his old team. You like that revenge spot as well. And I just like how this offense is hitting. And we didn't even get much of it yesterday. It was enough. Sandy did pitch pretty well, though, so he kept it low scoring for us. I think we're going to be able to get more runs here with the Phillies against Cal Quantrill.
Even without Harper in the lineup, the Phillies' offense still looks really good, and they're starting to swing it. They're really feeling confident. Huge edge offensively, and I think it's an even bigger edge with the starting pitchers. With Luzardo going back home in Miami, he's going to want to pitch a great game, and I think that this guy's got that type of stuff against this weak Miami lineup. He should, he'll carve them up. Cal Quantrill, below average big league pitcher, below average bullpen. It's all Phillies on the run line for me in this game.
No issue with that. Minus 0.5. You can get some evens out there on the run line on Philadelphia tonight at Marlins Park. We go to Washington next. The Nats are just on really hard times right now. Yesterday they lose to the Rockies. Hey, that's red hot Colorado now. They've won 2 in a row. They'll send Senzatella, who has been dreadful this year, to the bump, and Mike Soroka, who is coming off not a pretty average start, but this is just one of these where at some point the Nats have to win a game again, right? Especially playing Colorado. $1.90 is too steep, though, on Soroka. So we're going to steer clear. At least I'm going to steer clear of this one. What are you guys looking at here, potentially?
No, I agree with you. I mean, I do think that they do have to win, but losing 9 in a row and then paying a price like minus 190, I don't think that is a good recipe for success. I would only look at Nats team total over or Rockies team total under. So Nats is 5.5 even money. And I mean, we have been betting against Senzatella all year long, and it wasn't really their score. Well, yeah, they did only have 2 yesterday, right? Against the Rockies. So that kind of scares me because it has been their offense that has been struggling, and the Rockies' offense is better in the last 7. And that's why I was kind of making a case for Colorado yesterday, but the bettors jumped in early and moved it down. But I've got nothing in this one. I was looking more at team totals, if anything.
2 bad teams, and I always say don't ever lay a price and ask a bad team to win for you, because it just doesn't happen. This price is extremely high. I was amazed to see how high it was. I know it's the Rockies, and as bad as they played this year, you have to make these prices higher, but it's the Nationals, and they're not a very good baseball team. And with the 9-game losing streak, the pressure continues to mount. Young team that not a lot of offense. Really, they've got the advantage in the pitching today, but the price is just too high. I've been on the Rockies the last couple days, and I'll continue. I'll stay on them again today.
We go next to Atlanta. Braves and Mets play for the first time this season. Mets entering today with a 2-game lead over Philadelphia in the National League East. It's David Peterson, who has been phenomenal for New York, against Spencer Schwellenbach, who's coming off. Both of these guys, how about this? Yeah. A rarity in Major League Baseball in 2025. Both of these guys coming off complete games. Wow. That doesn't happen in 2025. Schwellenbach and Atlanta's favorite here, minus 30 on the Braves. Total 8.5 down there at Truist tonight, Alex.
That does make this a little tough to handicap here. And I guess you can blame Peterson. He kind of broke the Nationals, because that was about 7 days ago with his 9-inning pitch, 0 earned run, 6 strikeouts for him in that one. And on the other side, Schwellenbach, 9 innings against the Brewers. I think there's an advantage with Spencer Schwellenbach, even though David Peterson has been very good. I think he's better at home. Looking at his 31 innings pitched on the road, there is 10 earned runs there compared to the 48 2/3 at home, which is 12 earned runs. So I think there's a chance that the Braves could get to them, but I think that's the only real advantage that Atlanta has in this game. I like the Mets lineup. I like their offense a lot better. And I mean, even bullpen, I think is pretty even. So should he be minus 130 for the whole game? Probably, but I'd lean to the Mets getting that plus price here.
I have my systems and how I do things and put my numbers together, offensive ratings, defense, the pitcher ratings, bullpens, and then I come up with a number off how good the pitching is and how good the hitting is, and I have to add or subtract from the total. But so I'm really saying this because a lot of my clients are getting this and they're going, wow, he loves this game over because I made it 10 and it is 8.5. But I would have loved it over at 8 maybe, but I make an adjustment. And whenever I have a pitcher that is 35 cents better than the average big league pitcher, and that's really good pitcher, that you're better than the average guy. Both of these guys fit that criteria. So I would take a half run off my total for those two. And then I got to look at ground ball percentage. These two both are really good ground ball pitchers. It's hard to hit a ground ball over the fence. So it's hard to hit a 3-run ground ball home run. You don't get big innings with guys like this that can get ground ball after ground ball. So I take another half run off that. So my total is 8.5, and I think that's what it should be. And I'm right there on the side. I think, $1.21 is good. I was yesterday when I did this game, because I do these games a day in advance trying to get ahead of the line. Schwellenbach went through a couple of really rough starts that he wasn't very good. And then he had the last game, the complete game was, back to kind of what we saw at him. I still not a huge believer that Schellenbach's going to be this good over his career, but he has been this good now. So like I said, I gave him a very good rating, and I think Peterson's been really good. He's got a really good rating. So anyway, all that for nothing, Jeff. I'm passing. Thank you. I'll see you later.
You're welcome.
Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.
That was a beautiful filibuster there, Kenny.
Jeff should give us his thoughts.
I have nothing on this game. Mets have historically struggled again. Well, again, I know it's 1 year, but they did not hit Schwellenbach until the 8th inning of that Bonko game 161 last year. Again, this is bizarre. It's June 17th. These teams haven't played each other yet. This is the first time they're playing each other, and then we'll play 7 out of the next 10 against each other because they have 4 in New York next week. So nothing. Mets coming off by far their worst series of the year. They got pretty well stomped by Tampa at home in a 3-game sweep. Again, the Reds are the only team in baseball who have not been swept now after what happened this past weekend. So there you go. All right, we go to Chicago. This is a big series in that National League Central. Cubs welcome the Brewers. If Milwaukee's going to get back in things, it's a series you got to win 2 out of 3. And if the Cubs sweep, then I might be saying what I said about the AL Central after yesterday's show, Alex. It's Brown and Patrick today. Cubs are minus 55 at home at Wrigley tonight, juiced under on the total of 9. Kenny, weather report at Wrigley. It's a chance of thunderstorms, and it looks like that wind is blowing out the center at between 8 and 10 miles an hour today. Yeah, it is normally the higher number at Wrigley Field. Yeah. So you can kind of rely on that. So yeah, yesterday when I looked at this weather report, I didn't think there was anything that the weather was going to help or hurt hitters or pitchers. But with that weather,
there's one thing. If you were talking about ground ball percentage, taking a look at Chad Patrick's
big time fly ball pitcher. I told you yesterday, we talked about this. Fly ball pitchers can pitch well in cavernous ballparks. But if they're pitching at Wrigley Field with the wind blowing out, this isn't good because that fly ball that should be an out's now going into the stands. So that might be something to look at. Cubs here in this game, maybe it's the Cub team total over tonight. Patrick has pitched really well, but that's not a good situation for him.
No, I'm going to pull that up right now, looking for the Cubs team total, unless Jeff beats me to it.
But well, my numbers are right on in the game, but I think I have to add something. The wind blowing out to center, it's a confidence booster. At 10 miles an hour, it's going to help an average fly ball of 380 go maybe 390, may add on another 10 feet. That's going to be enough to get it out in the power alleys at Wrigley Field. So even at 10, if it's 20 miles an hour plus, I give 5 runs to the total. I give that much. That's how much of a difference it is. And you've seen it, that the park is an 8.5 ballpark. over the years, but you'll see totals that are 13.5 and 14 when the wind is gusting out. And then when it's gusting in, you'll see totals as low as 6.5. So my high on when the wind's blowing out is giving 5 runs. My high on going under when it's blowing in is 2 runs. And this game, I could give 1 or 2 runs, and whatever I do, it's going to be higher than the total that's out there.
So Cubs is 4.5, juice to the over -120 there, but you're leaning more towards the full game now, right?
Yeah, but I the Cub with the fly ball, ground ball thing, because Brown's a little bit more of a ground ball pitcher. With Patrick, really big time fly ball guy so far in 74 innings. You're going to see some balls in the air, and if that wind's going to help it a little bit, we're going to see some home runs there tonight.
Just a matter of will they get the game in or not, because that thunderstorm is coming. It looks like it's coming about an hour after first pitch, so keep that in mind if you're betting this one here tonight. All right, we go to L.A. next. Dodgers and Padres. Alex, I should have added the extra 0 to Ohtani's strikeouts under yesterday. We didn't even have to sweat that. Went 1 inning and really struggled his way through. And kind of what you would have expected for a guy who hasn't faced real hitters in almost 700 days. Just more for the Dodgers. Good to get him back out there. Dodgers going to win the game 6-3, by the way. So it didn't matter that Ohtani kind of labored through that first inning where he did give up a run. Right now, Dodgers $2 tonight against Vasquez and the Padres. Big total for Dodger Stadium. We see a flat 10 here tonight, Alex.
And that was the other play, over half a earned run for Ohtani was
got there
plus
as well.
155. And I was looking at that Padres first 3, thinking that was a good bet. But moving to this one today, I think this is an overplay. I really like Randy Vasquez, but he does struggle against lefties. The splits are pretty concerning. So I think there's plenty of guys in this Dodgers lineup that is going to be able to get to him. So batting averages here in 2025, righties 198, lefties 276. So I think the Dodgers are going to keep it going like we saw yesterday. On the other side, pretty much a bullpen day for the Dodgers, and I think the Padres are going to be able to get their bats going as well.
2 really good offensive teams, and the pitching, both guys, I think, are average to below average big league pitchers. Over the last 3 starts, both guys' xFIPs are very, very high. Vasquez has maybe been a little bit lucky in some of his starts, and I know he's been really lucky on the season. An ERA of 3.57, but an xFIP of 5.60, and that's because the guy strikes out 5.4 per 9 and walks 4.6. It's one of the worst ratios in Major League Baseball. It's not a good recipe for success against a really good hitting team like the Dodgers to put guys on base and give them freebies. It is going to be 77 at first pitch. I wish it was just a little bit warmer, but I like it over.
Yeah, is there any more 9.5s out there still? Or are we at 10 everywhere? Because that might impact.
One 9.5. 9.5. Superbook's got 9.5, 25.
That's what I see.
If you're going to go get it, the 9.5, that's where you got to go get it. Also, too, shop around because there is a difference in the juicing on the 10s. Some books actually have 10 over now as opposed to 10 under. So just, as always, shop around here tonight. All right, let's go to New York next. Yankees. Oh, what is going on with the Yankees right now? They get blasted in Boston over the weekend, and then they return home. Seems like a good spot to get themselves right, and they get shut out in an 11-inning game last night, losing 1-0 to the Angels. Yeah, we all had that one, right? The 11-inning 1-0 game. But yeah, Yankees struggling at the current moment. Kyle Hendricks and Will Warren. We'll say Kyle Hendricks might be a sight for sore eyes here tonight for the Yankees offense in that ballpark. Boy, Yankees just such a huge favorite, though, and not playing well at the moment, Alex.
No, and it is really tough here. Yeah, Yankees even had bases loaded there in the 11th and couldn't even tie it up. I think these numbers are a little bit high on the Yankees. I think just everything added in, both pitchers going, that's a big number here on a team that really is struggling to score. I don't know how many innings it's been, but I think it's an underplay, but I'm nervous with both of these starting pitchers going, so I really don't have anything.
I like the Angels. I think the price is just way too high. And this, with Mike Trout back in the lineup, this is a legitimate, pretty good lineup. Zach Neto at the leadoff spot. He was a great draft choice by them. He's a college shortstop at Campbell. And I watched him play, and he was the best player on the field, no matter if he was playing in his conference or if he was playing against an SEC team. He could do it all. This kid's going to be an all-star, Major League Baseball. Ward, I think, is an outstanding hitter, not having a good year, but he can hit. Soler, another guy I think is a really good hitter. His numbers aren't there. And a lot of these guys, their numbers may not be there because Trout did miss a lot of time, but this lineup, I think, is good. I really do. From top to bottom, I think it's a dangerous lineup. They're not as good as the Yankees. Yankees have a slightly better lineup, but it's not a huge difference between these two lineups. So when you start to look at the price on this game, there is an advantage pitching-wise with Warren over Hendricks, but it's not a huge edge. Warren's a higher whip than Hendricks has. He's at a higher xFIP over his last 3 starts. So I made the game $1.48. I'm taking plus 210. Give me the Angels all day at that price. I just don't think there's that big of a difference between these two teams with these two pitchers. If you want to roll out, the Yankees' top 3 aces, different story. I'm going to make it that high as well. But Will Warren is not one of those top 3 aces.
We go to Tampa next. Rays, of course, swept the Mets over the weekend and took the first one off of Baltimore last night at Steinbrenner Field. Littell and Kramer, your pitching matchup. It's a flip. Rays the slightest of favorites here at the South Point of -10, 9.5 the total. Well, this is pretty much what it's going to be in these games during the summer weather-wise in Tampa. It's going to be hot. There's going to be a chance of rain. It just all depends on when that daily rainstorm comes in Tampa Bay, and the wind is blowing out tonight. So that's why we see a 9.5 here in this game, Alex.
And you also have 2 of the hottest lineups in baseball right now over the last 7 days. Looking at the Orioles, 261 batting average, 323 on base percentage, 125 WRC plus. And looking at the Rays, 296. Let me make sure. 286 batting average, 369 on base, and a 137 WRC plus. You got to add in the 4-game winning streak for the Rays here coming into this one. So, that makes them a little bit higher than that, -120, but not much value there unless you want to ride the streak, which I do think Zach Littell's a better pitcher, especially with Dean Kramer on the road. He has a 6.07 ERA and a 160 whip on the road this year. So he's really struggled away from Baltimore. So it would be a play on the Rays or pass.
My number's right there for making the adjustment for the Rays 4-game winning streak. But Jeff brings up the point that it's hot and humid. It will be in the 90s with high humidity. It's going to feel like 96 degrees at first pitch. And in the last pitch of the game in the 9th inning, it's going to feel like 91 degrees. So it's going to be hot this entire game. I do like the Orioles lineup. I think they're starting to come around. The Rays are playing really good baseball. I think their pitching and bullpen has carried them a little bit, but I'll go over here because of the weather in this spot. The ball's going to carry. We're going to get a couple of home runs here. Hopefully we'll get 3 or 4, and hopefully they're not solo shots, and there's some guys on base when they hit them.
This weather in Tampa makes it feel like even more so than, again, I don't love either of these starting pitchers. Rays offense, the Rays just bombarded the best pitching in Major League Baseball over the weekend. This weather, though, is just so good for hitting.
Yeah.
It's so good for hitting.
So good.
I wish there was a juice 9, but I think 9.5 is still good here. Again, Rays are creeping on the Yankees, only 2.5 back in that American League East entering today's action. And as I praised Baltimore yesterday to put up a total stink bomb yesterday, so of course that's par for the course on that one there, Alex. From with how I've treated the Orioles this year. All right, we go to Texas next. Royals on hard times right now. Really, just awful week. Swept in 2 series at home, and look, when you get swept at home by this version of the A's, things are really going badly, like they are for Tampa right now. Jack Leiter against Seth Lugo tonight in Arlington, Texas is $1.30. Total 8.5 in this one, Alex.
This one's tough. Underlining, I don't love Seth Lugo's numbers and his walk to strikeout ratio. Let's see what he is on the year. 52 strikeouts to 22 walks. So, I mean, that is pretty good there in his 70 2/3. I think it's an under. I think if you got to go first 5 under here, even though the Rangers, we've seen their offense start to come alive here. So that's what makes me nervous. And that's what I'm ultimately looking at. I don't trust the Royals offense at all. You're talking about it. They're going through a rough patch here. 213 batting average in their last 7, 294 slugging, and 53 WRC plus. So I think Jack Leiter's going to be just fine on that side. It's whether or not I think Seth Lugo can slow down this Rangers offense that has come alive as of late. But I think that's a good play. First 5 under that total, whether it's 4.5 or 4.5. I think that's the best play here.
Yeah, my numbers lean to the under in this game, and a lot of it has to do with the ballpark and roof was closed. But it also has to do with both these offenses. I just don't have high numbers on either offense. And you mentioned the Royals offense. I've gave them a slightly below average big league rating for offensive as a team, but they're really well below average the way they're swinging it right now. So Leiter is pitching very good baseball. Hitters rating just 212 against them last 3 starts. Lugo's got a 1.15 whip. He does walk a couple too many more guys than I'd like, and he was going through a little bit of a below average streak there, 3 games in a row where he'd pitched below average, but he just threw 5 2/3 shutout innings against the Yankees. I think he can keep this lineup down. So I agree with you. I think maybe the first 5 under is the best way to look here.
Good. It's so interesting since Kenny back before this ballpark was built. Arlington was one of the best hitters parks.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes, it was.
The old ballpark at Arlington. Now that it's indoors and really just looks like a giant metallic building out there in Arlington. Now It's flipped. It's now a pitcher favored ballpark, and we've seen this with Texas. Texas got, by the way, gotten it back to 500, 5 games behind Houston, and more importantly, in that horrific mess of a American League playoff wild card race, they're right in it with those teams in the Central and the Boston Red Sox, who, by the way, can't lose even with that trade of Devers, which we'll get to. We'll get to the Sox in a moment.
I'm glad you brought up the old ballpark, because there was an unknown fact that people didn't realize, that when the wind was blowing in from right field, it was the best hitting day you could have, because the wind would come in from right and rebound off the stadium, and it would follow the stadium concourse out to left field. So blowing in from right, it did affect left-handed hitters, but majority hitters are right-handed, so the wind was actually blowing out to left field. It was hot and humid, and the ball would carry, and that's why it was one of the best hitting ballparks in the big leagues. And people would get the weather report and they say, the wind's blowing in from right. Maybe look at the under in that game. I was thinking, but it's blowing out to left now, because that's the way the wind path is in that stadium. And that was a really good one that, people didn't realize back then.
Now it's the home of the UFL there in Arlington. All right, we go to Seattle next. Red Sox just, again, they trade with Devers and come out last night and 2-0 behind Lucas Giolito, who threw 6 shutout and struck out 10. It was an old school Giolito performance, and the Mariners offense at home just continues to not do much of anything. Game 2 of this series, it's Wu and Buehler, minus 60 on Seattle. This is too big of a price on the Mariners tonight. Again, I don't love what the current version of Walker Buehler is, but you got a team that's hot playing a team that does not hit in their own ballpark. Plus 45 would be the only look in this game for me on Boston. And by the way, you can do better than that. There is still plus 155 available. So obviously go find that.
I do agree with you. I do think that price is too big here on the Mariners, but I do love Brian Wu, especially at home. Love to back him. That's the way I would like to look at this game, but can't really do much there. I think I'm going to look at a first 5 under as well. You're right. Seattle, there's really like 3 bats that you have to worry about. So I think Walker Buehler will be okay in this one against the Mariners that are struggling. Even though his last 4, Buehler has given up 3, 5, 5, and 2 earned runs in all of those, but he did go 7 against Tampa Bay. So I do like that sign from him. So yeah, I'll go first 5 under here in this one as well.
Yeah, you always got to remember how good a guy was. And you look back and see Buehler's career, and he was the 1-2 punch really for the Dodgers for a lot of years. After surgery, it takes some time to get back to that point. And I expect Buehler to start getting close to that. He's still inconsistent coming off a big game, but this is a team that's won 6 in a row now. And the one thing that I've always said, when you fire somebody, and basically that's what they did with their best player, it's a wake-up call to the rest of the team. And also, he may have been a distraction in the locker room. He wasn't happy from the beginning of the year. If I don't start at third, I'm not playing. They came out with saying that. That just rubs your teammates the wrong way because, first of all, now you're being an individual and you're putting yourself before the team. Everyone's an individual, but you just don't come out and say it. So I think this Red Sox team now, their locker room might be extremely happy that they don't have a guy coming to work every day that's aggravated, that's not happy about the situation. They take a deep breath and like, hey, this is fun again. Baseball's fun again. It's meant to be fun, and now it is. So I think this is a really good spot for the Red Sox. This is a huge price. I'm hoping Buehler's close to getting back to regular form, and if he is, Seattle, the way they swing it, we might see Buehler pitch a really nice game here tonight.
Moving along to the A's and the Astros, Kurtz with a walk-off home run that I'm not sure has landed yet in West Sacramento for the A's last night. Stroh's minus 15 in this one, with at least Alexander listed at the current moment. Sears on the other side at even. Last night's game went way the heck under.
Yes.
And so we're naturally up to 11 here today. In this one with the Astros and the A's.
Yeah, Gusto and Spence both threw a good game yesterday. Couldn't get much on the board going. Well, actually, it was just 3 home runs that we saw in that game. This is tough. It is pretty much a coin flip, and I agree with that. I didn't dive too much into this one. It was a pretty easy pass. I think those numbers are just right.
Yeah, looking at this game, you're right. I'm pretty much right on the number. Obviously, weather is going to play effect again in this ballpark. So with those adjustments, with the Athletics on a 4-game winning streak, I lean to them a little bit, just not a big enough difference to make a play here. But, boy, I really like JT Ginn. I think he's going to have great stuff. A kid that I loved in college was an outstanding pitcher. But it's still going to take him some time to get to know how to get big league hitters out. So, with the weather there in Sacramento tonight, I could maybe even lean to the over. This total up to 11. Is that what you said, Jeff?
11.
11, yeah. Big total, but the weather is going to be a big factor.
Up next, we go to interleague. 5 interleague games today. We start in Detroit. Tigers actually lost the series over the weekend to Cincinnati. Now they welcome in Pittsburgh. Casey Mize and Falter, your matchup. $2 on the Tigers here. Total of 8 at Comerica tonight for the American League's best.
You want to take this one first? Are you interested in taking that big plus 180 with the Pirates?
Yeah, I am. I'm on a lot of big dogs here today. I do like Bailey Falter. I like what I've seen from him. Good walk to strikeout ratio, 1.12 whip. Well, the walk to strikeout ratio isn't that good. Looking at now, 25 walks, 46 strikeouts. But he's a guy that's hard to hit from the left side. He's got really good movement. And hitters are hitting just 214 against him over the last 3 starts. Casey Mize, he's been hit hard lately. 361 and a 506 xFIP over the last 3 starts. So the Tiger lineup against lefties, I think that's their weakness. I think they're much better versus right-handed pitching. So I might look to take the Pirates' first 5 here because there's a huge difference in bullpens that the Tigers, that's where their advantage here is in this game. So first 5 for me with Bailey Falter.
It is crazy how sometimes numbers can lie to you. And looking at Casey Mize in his last 5, first just looking at earned runs, I'm like 2-2, 3 to Kansas City, 1 to Cleveland, none to the Rockies. But you're right. A lot of hits in there and some walks, so plenty of opportunity to score some runs. So said all that really just because I was trying to make a case for the under with both of these pitchers going, but now I'm a little bit nervous. So I'm going to pass on this one, but would be a lean to the Pirates maybe getting that run line for the first 5.
Next up, we go to Toronto. Diamondbacks and Jays. D-backs have gotten it back, well in the mix again in the National League. Jays got swept over the weekend by Philadelphia, still in that second wild card slot. Their best pitcher goes today, though. Chris Bassett at $1.15 against Brandon Pfaadt. Total is 8.5. There is some 9 out there as well, so shop on whatever total you're looking for. I would only lean to Toronto here with Bassett on the bump. Surprised he's actually not a little bit of a bigger favorite in this game, Alex.
Well, I mean, we do have probably one of the luckiest pitchers on the other side in Brandon Pfaadt. We saw that a few games ago, 2 really bad starts for him, and then kind of figured things out against the Mariners. They did have 9 hits, but just 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, and 1 walk in that one. Can he do it again against this Toronto Blue Jays team? I think he can do it enough. I think there's a huge advantage offensively with this Diamondbacks lineup compared to the Blue Jays, and you can see it in the last 7 days for sure. Toronto's definitely come back down to earth, losing 3 straight. So it would only be a look at the getting a plus price or even money here with the Diamondbacks. I don't know if I'm going to jump on it just yet, though.
Boy, Brandon Pfaadt's numbers were just completely annihilated with 2 bad starts in a row. That home start against Washington, it gives up 6 hits in 8 batters that he faced. I think he either hit 2 guys or hit a guy, and it was a sac fly in that game, but he gave up 8 runs without recording an out. And then the next game, 3 innings, gives up 6 runs. So 14 runs in 3 innings, but his last start, he did give up 9 hits to Seattle, which is not good either. So, is there a question mark? Is Brandon Pfaadt, healthy or not to me when I look at games like that? My numbers say I should bet Arizona, because I think they're the far better offensive team, and I think Pfaadt's a really good pitcher. But Bassett's having a good year. I think he's been a little lucky in this spot. I don't know if Pfaadt's healthy or not because of his last 3 starts. So he's just been getting crushed. A .455 batting average. I'm not going to bet on a guy that's over a 3-game run that's can't get anybody out. So maybe this game could go over the total if Pfaadt has nothing at all. So something to look at there, but I'm going to pass just because it's the unknown for me.
I do think, over. I think both pitchers, even though Bassett has been very good, we have seen lineups be able to get to him, including the Athletics, Tampa Bay, and the Cardinals in his last 4 starts, 4 and 5 earned runs for them. So I do think over would probably be the best.
We go to Cincinnati next. The Reds and the Twins. Festa and Abbott, your pitching matchup at Great American Ballpark here tonight. Reds small favorite, -15. Total of 8.5 in this one, Alex.
Reds, nice little win streak here, 2 in a row for them. Twins coming into this on a 4-game losing streak. I think you just have such a huge advantage with the starting pitcher, with Andrew Abbott. I think he's been awesome this year. I mean, looking at his last 3 starts, 143, his opponent batting average, 367 xFIP for him. I like his medium numbers, just 1 earned run in 5 1/3 innings pitch. So it would only be the Reds for me. I think that's a pretty cheap price for them here at home.
Yeah, Andrew Abbott's been very good. I think we all lost on him a couple starts ago that he gave up some runs to Milwaukee, but he bounced right back with the 3-hit shutout again at Cleveland in his last effort. So tremendous year so far, but he has been very lucky. Batting average balls in play, just 227. Left on base, 90%. That's not going to hold up over the course of an entire season. So I have him rated very, very well, but I'm a little skeptical here with him against a team that hits left-handed pitching very good in the Minnesota Twins. So my numbers say they're right there. So I'm going to pass. I don't see any edges, but I just wanted to pass that out that Abbott's going to get some runs up. He's got a bad start or 2 in him coming up here.
Next up, we go to south side of Chicago. Cardinals are really struggling right now. They've lost 7 out of 8. At least got 1 against the Brewers over the weekend. It could have really been a lost weekend. Taking on the White Sox, it's Liberatore and Smith. Liberatore's shaky his last 2 times out. We talked about, again, there are some guys on the White Sox you can look at, and Smith is one of those 2 you can really take a bite of the apple if you want. Plus 30 on the Sox here with a total of 9 on the south side tonight, Alex.
Same kind of weather issue, of course, that we did see with Wrigley. But if this game is to go, I think you're getting some value here with under 4.5 in the first 5. I mean, Jeff's right. Both offenses have really struggled, and looking at their numbers, it is all red on their offensive side for the last 7, 92 WRC plus for the Cardinals and 68 for the White Sox. I think both pitchers will do just enough here, maybe 1-2 earned runs, and we can stay under that 4.5.
Yeah, I'm just wanted to check on the south side, the weather, make sure you can know the temperature. It could cool off later on at nighttime, obviously, if the thunderstorms come in. But yeah, it's going to be about 85, I think, at first pitch, but the temperatures will drop drastically. Wind's going to be a crosswind, so will not affect play either way. The numbers are right there for me in this game. I'm supposed to bet the Cardinals, but I'm afraid, again, Liberatore's last 3 starts have not been very good, as Jeff pointed out. And it's a team that's not playing well. So I don't want to lay a price in that situation. I think if they were playing well and Liberatore was pitching well, this price would be a lot higher. But my numbers are right there. I do lean to the under, though, because of both offenses and how bad they played. And maybe if I do play this, it would be first 5 innings.
Cardinals scare me right now on top of what you're saying.
Yeah.
The starting pitching is melted down and the hitting is regressed enough that they've gone from squarely, again, they're still only 2.5 out of a playoff spot, so they're still in it. But my concern with them coming in is they didn't have enough starting pitching. That has really showed up as well on top of the lineup going backwards over the last 10 days. All right, last one on the board. We go to San Francisco Giants. The Rafael Devers era begins tonight against Cleveland. Sassoni and Robbie Ray. Boy, Robbie Ray has just been so good for San Francisco. He's $1.50 tonight, and that is a super low total tonight at 7. But again, we know the drill in San Francisco, guys. Even with the wind blowing out, the ballpark factors do not matter because of the way they built it. The wind blowing out does not really matter because they knew what they were dealing with when they built it right on the bay. It would only be a look to Ray at -50 in the full game for me, Alex. I just think that's a little bit of a cheap price when you have such a big advantage, and San Francisco's got a high-end bullpen as well. So I would only look to the Giants here in this one as a favorite.
I agree, and I was a little surprised to see your number not come quite as high as that, especially with such a huge pitching advantage with Robbie Ray getting the start here. I also think the team might get a little bump with their new teammate in Devers jumping in here for the Giants. So I do like Robbie Ray. That is one favorite I probably am going to have to bet tonight.
Yeah, I didn't bump the lineup yet for Devers in the lineup, but it's definitely going to go up. I need to make their number higher now, especially versus right-handed pitching. And I do have a big difference with Robbie Ray on the mound. I gave him a really big rating. I did kind of change some of my calculations in my to make a line. I wanted to try to make the starting pitcher more valuable, and when I did it, I think I overdid it a little bit, and then I adjusted it back again. So what I'm looking at, I should have a play on the Giants in this game, but I don't. I'll pass, try to go over those numbers a little bit, but my numbers do say under, and I can see that with Robbie Ray on the mound tonight in this game. So I may take a look at the first 5 under, just the first 5.
Well, I know neither one of you love this Cleveland offense.
No.
I don't mind with a starting pitcher like Robbie Ray taking a shot there.
Before we take a break, let's go to the College World Series, Kenny. We have an elimination game tonight, weather permitting in Omaha. Again, weather really messed with that LSU-UCLA game, which has gone final. LSU wins 9-5 to get themselves one win away from the College World Series championship series. They'll have to either beat UCLA or Arkansas once with 2 cracks to do it with that starting later this week. Louisville and Oregon State, not quite underway, going to be starting as soon as they can get that going. Kenny, on this one, you got your cells. Where did my numbers just go? That's good. That's always good when the numbers just disappear on you when you're trying to go to it. -220 on Oregon State, +90 on Louisville. We've already seen these teams meet already in this College World Series in Omaha. Oregon State won that one in the first opener, in their opener for both of these teams.
Yeah, a little revenge factor. I like, the team coming back. Louisville's off a win and Oregon State's off a loss. I always like that situation too. So good mojo, I think, for Louisville here. Both teams starting, I think, their best possible guy that's rested. I thought Louisville may come back with their number one Forbes on 3 days, who pitched exceptional against Oregon State, but he's probably going to come out of the pen. They're going to start Brennan Cutts, who was a I think he's a fifth-year senior, came from Indiana State, and he was the 1 or 2 guy at Indiana State, a team that was in the college playoffs the last 2 years. He's a transfer portal guy, was not in the starting rotation, and he's going to get a start here. I think it was the great choice by Louisville. Nelson Keljo is going to get the start for Oregon State, who was a starter in their rotation last year. And he was a starter. I think he was their ace to start the year, Friday night guy, but he got hit up early, sat out a little while. They put him in the bullpen. He has not pitched a lot of innings, but I think talent-wise, he's the best guy that they could pitch today for these two teams. Louisville, Peter Michael, who was their number one most of the season, has been out, has been throwing, and I read that he could pitch here in this game against Oregon State. So you may see him in relief tonight. How good he's going to be, I don't know. He hasn't pitched in a game in so long. I would have rather had him pitch in the first game when they were behind and got out on the mound, but he didn't. We'll see if we see him tonight, but I do like the bullpen for both of these teams. And then I mentioned Louisville. I like their offense. So they got me there in the last game. I had Louisville in over, and a 6-run inning in the 8th was a huge surprise for me, where I thought I was going to be 0-2 on a game I ended up 2-0 on. So nice turnaround. I hope they can keep that confidence. I do like Louisville in this game, plus $1.75, and I do like the game under 10.5 because the wind will be blowing in now. When I made my number at 9, I wasn't factoring any weather. But now checking the latest weather in this ballpark, it's going to be 10 to 20 straight in from center field today in this game. So the temperatures have cooled off from the 90s to the 80s because of that thunderstorm that came in last night. So I hope they can get this game in. I think there'll be thunderstorms and a few showers late in the game.
Plus 90 on Louisville. Again, this game is going 25 minutes from now. That's the hope, that they're going to start this game now that UCLA Arkansas game ended. By the way, they already have some early numbers up for UCLA and Arkansas, which they're trying to get in tonight. Arkansas is a huge favorite, almost $4 in this one, total 10.5. Of course, yesterday Gage Wood threw what was just the 3rd no-hitter in College World Series history. It's the first with aluminum bats as well. It had 19 strikeout masterpiece over Murray yesterday to at least keep Arkansas alive. And now, and Kenny, I'm not expecting you to even have thought, because that legitimately the lines are starting to populate. Superbook is the only one in Vegas out with them right now, minus 390 on Arkansas in the nightcap against UCLA, at plus 325 on the Bruins. Again, Bruins having to play 6 innings here today, and then wrapping around and playing Arkansas, who of course got the rest of their bullpen yesterday.
Right.
I think that there's going to be showers tonight. I don't think they're going to be able to.
You'd be surprised if they get it in.
I don't think they'll get the game in tonight, and that happens often in Omaha. That'll be a big break for UCLA because, and as I told you before this started, I didn't like UCLA's pitching staff. It's not a normal staff that you see out of the Bruins, that they've got a first rounder or second rounder on the staff. But their ace pitched well in game 1. I think he's an average college guy, but if they don't have to play tonight, they may get him to come back. Ian May, who's a left-hander, transfer from California, is a sneaky lefty that if he gets hot and tough to hit, I think the price on this game is a little bit too high. I like Arkansas. I thought they were the best team in the tournament, but I think that price against UCLA, if they play tomorrow, could be a little high. UCLA could be sneaky and just be able to hang around.
Those are your prices entering this morning on the College World Series. Again, LSU is going to be shorter at day's end, only needing to win 1 in order to make it to the final. And they will be favored against regardless who comes out of the other side. And that would go for Arkansas as well if they're able to beat UCLA and then flip around and beat LSU twice if they are able to get through. Again, Coastal Carolina really steamrolled through this whole tournament so far. Forget just Omaha. They've steamrolled through this whole tournament. Chanticleers will need to win one against either Oregon State or Louisville in order to make it into the College World Series Championship Series. All right, we'll take a short break. When we get back, whiteboards and trivia answer. And wrap up the show on a Tuesday. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over 13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the Book.
Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite at extra nickel.
Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White. Wrapping up a Tuesday. We'll have the whiteboards. Kenny's already got it in place. Alex putting one more on the board. And while she does that, we will get today's trivia question, which was a basketball one. Which 11-time NBA All-Star was traded to the Phoenix Suns on this date in 1992? And that is, of course, Sir Charles. Charles Barkley traded from the Sixers to the Suns. Barkley went on to have his best season, of course, the next year. Suns made it all the way to the NBA Finals before the Bulls knocked them off. Barkley, of course, famously never won a championship. And JR was the one who got it right. So there you go. Barkley, the one traded today from Philadelphia to Phoenix. So JR and Nick continue their battle for June supremacy here on the show. We're all the way on June 17th, by the way. So we're less than 2 weeks to go in the month. So going to be a tight finish to the end here.
I just can't believe today is the last day for Commissioner Cup games.
Yeah, it's quick.
Felt like
Quick.
Flying by.
Yeah, it really is.
Whiteboard time here on a Tuesday, and we will begin on the far side of the desk with Kenny White.
Major League Baseball, Phillies today I'm laying the run and a half minus 105 to start it out. And I'm playing all these for 1% plays. I got 6 baseball plays for you, but 3 of them are big dogs, so I'll only play 0.5% on those games. Colorado Rockies plus $1.70 I'm going to take. The Padres plus $1.90 against the Dodgers. The Tampa Bay game, I love over 9.5. That might be a little bit more than a 1% bet. Hot and humid there. The ball should really carry. I like the Red Sox, the way they're playing, plus $1.60. And on that one, I'm going to do a 1% bet. I won't do a half. Good team and a winning streak that's playing well. And I'm hoping Walker Buehler may be back. We knew it'd be soon. Pittsburgh Pirates, I'm going to go first 5 innings here against the Tigers. I'm really betting on Bailey Falter, plus 165. And then the college baseball, Oregon State, Louisville today, under 10.5, wind blowing straight in from center field, 10 to 20 miles an hour. And I'm hearing it's closer to 20 than it is 10.
I have 5 on the board today, but I really have 6 because I forgot about the Phillies -1.5. Want to go back to that from yesterday as well. I'm also on the Rays over 9.5. I think both of these pitchers can get hit up today, and these are 2 of the hottest lineups right now in baseball in the last 7 days. I like the Royals and the Rangers under. These are all first 5 for me, under 4.5. I like the Red Sox and the Mariners with Brian Wu going. We've got under 4. There's only 1 4 out there, so shop around. Cardinals and White Sox under 4.5. Both of them struggling offensively. And then I'm going to take a shot here with Robbie Ray and the Giants -0.5 run. First 5 is just -115.
A lot of action today, so if you're watching, you can't complain that we don't have enough action on the desk between Alex and Kenny. By the way, I'll be on the Giants. I'm with you first 5 and full game on Robbie Ray. We'll lay the money line full game. We'll lay that half run in the first 5. And also, I will be on the Florida Panthers tonight, laying the goal and a half. I believe this will be the end, and it will be empty net city when it's all said and done. So, I'm on the Panthers to raise the cup here tonight against Edmonton. So, Edmonton backers, you are probably in good shape here tonight with me being on Florida in this one. All right. We're back tomorrow. Kenny's with us again tomorrow on the show. So, we'll be looking forward to that. Shout out to the crew, Jerry, Ryan, Vince, and Sean, and Drew Doug. Thank you all as always. We're back again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Kenny, Alex, good luck. Good luck to you out there if you're following the plays here on the show today. I'm Jeff. We'll see you again tomorrow. Sports by the Book.